what has happened in the last 48 hours, let's put it this way, or 72 hours. There was an attack, Yemeni attack on Aramco, one of the main oil facilities of Saudi Arabia, which led to some sort of firing, huge firing in that area. And they hit they hit the targets. They said dozens of missiles were used in that operations. Just before coming to this live, today there was, the new footage came out that's showing that everything is still on fire in Saudi Arabia and Aramco. And we thought that it's because of the attack, Yemeni attack on Saudi Arabia. Just moments ago, Saudi Arabia announced that their perception is that there was a new attack by drones, and Saudi Arabia has blamed the resistance group in Iraq. They attacked them, and right now, as you see in this footage, is somehow some parts of Aramco is on fire, and this is a mega refinery in Saudi Arabia. Paul, is so important for them, and the combination of what's going on with Aramco, with the and with the blockade that the Yemenis have on their port, is bringing a lot of pressure, tremendous pressure on Saudi Arabia. And how do you find, Paul, the combination of the two, the Strait of Hormuz and the Red Sea right now, and the way that Yemen came into the war and put in the blockade on Saudi Arabia?
Well, first of all, I would say it shows the success over many years of the Americans and the Israelis having the Arabs to fight one another. So the Arabs have not recognized the real enemy, which is Israel, and instead fight one another. So that's the first conclusion. The second conclusion is that Saudi Arabia has sort of made a fundamental error. There are now forces in the Middle East that are standing up against the Israeli-American domination. And it's because of the success in the Iranian resistance. So the Houthis have shown they're a determined and capable outfit. Hezbollah has shown the same despite the numerous Israeli assassinations of their leadership. And these are two elements that actually fight. So, as best as I recall, Nima, the Houthi attack was a response to a Saudi attack. And it was ridiculous for the Saudis to get drawn into this because with Iran controlling the strait and therefore able to stop oil flows, if the Saudi pipeline that runs to the Red Sea is disrupted by the Houthis, and there's no oil coming out of the Middle East, it's not just the oil from the Persian Gulf, is the oil from Saudi Arabia. And so this was a strategic error to invite that type of an attack from the Houthis. And I'm pleased to see that the Houthis saw the opportunity and took it, because now we have a situation where the oil shortage is going to be greater. So the pressure on the rest of the world is rising. And who is paying the cost? See, this is Israel's war. We've talked about it. Israel has its American proxy fighting with Iran. And Iran is fighting not Israel, but Israel's proxy. So Israel pays no cost. But who will pay the cost of the energy, the oil shortage, the rest of the world. So we're going to have the whole world paying the cost of Israel's war. Well, this is not a winning situation for Israel and the Americans, because when the cost of energy start rising up again, and the inflation that comes with it, the disruption of financial markets, possibly a crash, possibly, as Michael Hudson has predicted, a depression. This is a huge cost for the entire world to pay for Israel's war. And so here we see the arrogance, or the cost of the arrogance that has built over many decades among the Americans and the Israelis, who've gotten away with all kinds of massive crimes and wars and acts of criminality against civilians. We may now be seeing this come to a halt. At some point, the world is going to say, how come we don't have any energy because of Israel? So there's some hope that the cost of the Israeli war, which is not borne so far by Israel, but is going to be borne by everybody else, will cause a change in the correlation of forces against the Israeli Americans. So that's the way I see it.
Paul, the new report on Political says that 57% of Americans say that the cost of living is worse than they can ever remember. Is it important for Donald Trump?
Yes, it's important for Donald Trump. Trump made a fundamental error. He let Netanyahu destroy his presidency by deceiving him into a war with Iran. Trump has, over his life, had to get along with Jews to cultivate them. He's in the New York real estate business. He needs loans, financing. These are all financial activities. It helps to be on the right side of the Jews. So he even has his daughter marry a Jew. So his relationships over his life with Jews and his most important multi-billionaire financial backers are Jews, has made him more or less the puppet for Israel. It's a relationship that just formed naturally over the course of his life, and he's trapped in it. And perhaps there's some hope that the frustrations Trump is experiencing over the cost of this conflict that Netanyahu has him in with Iran, that these frustrations might cause him to cease being Israel's puppet. It could happen in several ways. For example, we have discussed in previous of these interviews that there's a bill before the Congress to integrate the United States and the Israelis militarily, politically, economically. Well, Congress is owned by Israel. The American Congress is in Israel's pocket, even more than Trump. Well, it was brought to my attention yesterday that neither Trump nor his Secretary of War, Hegseth, are pushing in favor of this legislation. They've not said anything about how important it is and how we have to pass it. So they're not actively engaged in this. Now, this may be cover that they know Congress is going to pass it and they don't need to be advocating it. And so they're keeping their distance from it. But it's entirely possible that if this passes, which it seems like it will, Trump might veto it. Well, that would be a decisive break with Israel. And it would be also put the Republican Party on the spot for for being so willing to sell out American sovereignty to Israel. And that could possibly start some unraveling of this close relationship that Israel has woven the United States into over many decades. So these kinds of things may be improbable, but it really depends, I guess, on how Trump handles his frustration over the predicament he's in. Because, as I understand it, Nima, one of the reasons the United States stopped their attacks, they attacked night after night for a number of days, and they withdrew from that. And
It was more than 10 days, Paul.
Okay, more than 10 days. Okay. But as it was explained to me, the U.S. military concluded that the attacks were achieving no purpose because the motivation behind the attacks were that we will build inside Iran a rising amount of destruction. And this destruction will, as it grows, will make it difficult for Iran to continue the conflict, and the people will suffer more and put more pressure on the government to end it. But this didn't work because the Iranians would fix the damage overnight. So there was no accumulated damage. We would go in, use all these munitions, and the next day everything's back in place. So this is how it was explained to me. So the U.S. military concluded this was ineffective and a waste of munitions and stopped. Well, one obvious conclusion from this is that there's not much the United States can do at the moment to punish Iran. And the other aspect of this explanation I was given, Nima, is that when the Iranians responded to these attacks, they did substantial damage to the American bases, to the radars, to the capability to perceive incoming attacks. And so it was decided by the Pentagon that these attacks were causing far more damage to the United States than to Iran. Well, that's a situation which tells Trump what can he do. There's nothing obvious that he can do at this time. So he's probably glad that the Iranians don't have a war plan and are not continuing the attacks, as the United States and Israel would be undefended and in an impossible situation and would be quickly defeated. So I think he's grateful that the Iranians aren't pressing the attack and taking advantage of the opportunity. to completely destroy any American presence in the Middle East and to destroy Israel. So, in other words, he's probably more angry at Netanyahu right now than he is at the Iranian leadership.
Yeah. He's going to meet with Benjamin Netanyahu, if I'm not mistaken, today or tomorrow. He's going to have some sort of meeting. We didn't have the confirmation of that. But looking at, you mentioned that he he's angry at Benjamin Netanyahu and his policies, his sort of understanding that tried to push him into this war. But right now, it's all about Donald Trump, Paul. It, it's all about how Donald Trump sees the conflict. I don't see that much of importance of Benjamin. They're not part of the war, as you've mentioned. They're not fighting anybody right now. They're basically sitting back and watching the United States and Iran hitting each other, and these GCC countries are on fire. As you mentioned, there is no viable air defense system. With the recent attacks in GCC countries, you don't see that much of challenge coming from the air defense system to the Iranian missiles. This is one of the major issues right now. As you see with some 10 or 12 missiles going from Yemen to Saudi Arabia, they can easily hit the targets in Aramco. It means that even Saudi Arabia, which was not part of the recent conflict, the recent targets of Iran, they don't have the air defense system capable to intercept the missiles from Yemen, not missiles from Iran. Just imagine the difference. And what is your understanding of Donald Trump today? What would be the wise decision on his part if you were among those people who are talking with him, who are, helping him?
Well, I think um, Trump's ego is sufficient for him to be very offended by what Netanyahu led him into. But on the other hand, uh, Trump faces what could be a difficult midterm election because if the Republicans lose control of the House or the Senate or both, um, he would be vulnerable. His presidency would be at an end because if the Democrats control the House and Senate, they would just harass him endlessly. So he needs his multi-billionaire Jewish backers. He can't alienate them because in difficult races, he'll need the Israeli American press. He'll need the hundreds of millions of dollars from these billionaire Jews. And so he's in a very difficult, frustrating situation. This is what, I was trying to bring out. His frustration has to be rising because he's trapped and there's no obvious way out. Uh, his military tells him the force option isn't working, so that's not a way out. uh, and the way out is to read Israel the Riot Act, but he can't do that without losing the power of Jewish money in American elections and the power of the Jewish media in the American elections. The Israeli or the Zionists, the Jews, have huge media presence, entertainment presence. They affect the way people see things and think. So he can't really survive having that against him either. So it's hard to see what he can do. Uh, I suspect that what he will try with Netanyahu is to say, look, you got me in a predicament. The only way I can get out of it is for you to lay off. get your forces out of Lebanon, uh, stop all of your threats and against Iran, and let me get this calmed down. Because if the Republicans don't survive the election, and you get the Democrats in there, the Democrat Party is increasingly anti-Israel. And do you want that kind of party in place of me? And so he may get Netanyahu's corporation to calm everything down, to stop the Israeli efforts in Lebanon, and make some kind of understanding with the Houthis. That's what he may try to do. And maybe that's why they're having this meeting, because without Israel's cooperation here, he risks being a president who can't act because his opponents will control Congress. And we saw previously that the Democrats don't hesitate to use law as a weapon. So, we would see impeachments, we would see all kinds of charges, efforts at indictments. The whole Trump administration would be in turmoil. The Democrat committee chairman would be calling in Hegseth and Rubio and grilling them and giving them all kinds of trouble, and it would be a mess. So I think Trump will try to convince Netanyahu that he's got to help Trump get out of this situation, or it goes bad for both of them. So that's my speculation at the moment, based on what we know at the moment. And it, of course, could be different next week.